The Mandalorian, Chapter 23, The Spies, just came out, so here is my review. And just a heads up, there will be spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen it, turn it off and then come back. So we start off in Coruscant, where Elia Kane, however you pronounce it, is on Coruscant, going into some shady alleyway, and then a massive bloody Imperial probe droid comes. And let me tell you, I know Imperial probe droids are meant to be big, but you never really get that sense of scale, but it looked absolutely imposing, and I'm really happy with that. Anyway, we find out she is a spy. Oh my god, who saw that coming? But yeah, she was a spy, and she's informing Moff Gideon of the Mandalorians helping Navarro escape from the pirates. And so we go back to Gideon, who's now on some sort of fancy installation, where he has these new troopers. Now, I think these are the Dark Troopers he mentions, or they're just Beskar Troopers. I'm just going to call them Beskar Troopers, in case if I'm wrong. Gideon goes off to his Shadow Council. We have a conversation between them all. There's Brendel Hux, General Hux's father. There's Pelion, others who I don't know. And they're all discussing various things, including what I think is Project Necromancer, which I have to assume is just the rebirth of the Empire via the First Order. Anyway, so the Shadow Council are all scared that the Mandalorians are coming back. So Gideon requests some forces. And we find out that Gideon doesn't even believe in Thrawn. So you know what? I don't think he saw the trailer for Ahsoka, so someone show him that trailer, show him he's alive. So he gets his forces, then he leaves off all menacingly. And let me say, the design of the base that he's in looks really cool, which we'll get back to later. Then we cut to Navarro, where the Night Owl fleet comes in, so you'd think they would tell Greef Karga that they're coming back with this whole Imperial fleet, but you know what? I think the dramatic entrance with the Mandalorian symbol on there is good enough. So as the Night Owls come out of their ships, you can just immediately feel the tension between the Children of the Watch and the Night Owls, and that tension just goes throughout the entire episode, and I think it is really well done. You can just feel all these generations of animosity towards each other, with their steely gazes toward each other. It's really great directing. Great job, Rick Famuyiwa. You did an excellent job just showing how much all these Mandalorians contrast each other while being part of the same culture. Politics! Wink, wink. So after that, we cut to Greef Karga's office, and he unveils one of the best things in this season to happen to little old Grogu. He gets an IG mech suit. In the first episode, when we don't know what they're going to do with IG-11's body, I honestly didn't know what they were going to do with it. I thought maybe at the droid bar, but no. Instead, they turned it into a mech suit for Grogu, and let me tell ya, that was so unexpectedly brilliant. Now we can have Grogu fighting alongside the Mandalorians without being in a capsule. And you know what? If he's going to be Mandalore, like all these theories suggest, he can actually hold the Darksaber instead of, trying to hold it and failing. And you know what? If you code it in Beskar, he will be invincible. So after that, we cut to the dinner scene where they're roasting one of those birds from the first season, those giant birds that attack them at the campfire. Again, you can still feel all this tension between the two groups. You have the Children of the Watch off to the side, not eating because, they have to keep their helmets on. And then the Night Owls just casually eating, just looking at them, not saying a word. Then you have Bo come out, asking everyone who wants to join her, and even though she is claiming to be the ruler, you can still feel this real hesitancy towards it, which I'm guessing is because of everything that happened to her in the past, which we do get into, but is also in Star Wars Rebels and the Clone Wars if you haven't watched that. But yeah, she has a real hesitancy and wariness to her that I think is a really great character detail. So all the Mandos board these ships, they head to Mandalore, and they drop onto the ground, and let me tell you, this shot, this right here, is such an amazing shot. This scouting party starts scouting, and they come across this really epic Mandalorian raiding ship. At first you think, are they just scavengers? No, they are survivors from the Night of 1,000 Tears, the Great Mandalorian Purge. And they look wary as fuck. And as they should, they've been surviving on this hellhole of a planet, but they look so cool. And the fact that they're still loyal to Bo-Katan is kind of good detail. I would have expected them to be like, oh no, you ruined this planet, but no. I'm guessing they understood the circumstances. And also, the Raider ship, mwah, I love all these raiding pirate ships that they've been doing. In The Mandalorian, even in Resistance, Star Wars Resistance had some really great pirate ship designs, and I'm glad it's transferring over to the live action shows. Then we have another dinner sequence the second, and we get a bit more backstory on how Bo surrendered to Moff Gideon in the first place, how she wanted to save her people. And honestly, I'm actually kind of surprised that no one gave a shit for surrendering, seeming how warrior-like they are. I would fully expect them to be like, oh no, you're no ruler of Mandalore. You can't have, you surrendered. But you know what? They know that she is trying to fix her mistakes, so good on them, and good on her. And it's really great seeing her be a lot more reflective and not as impulsive as she was when she was younger. Just actually thinking through about how she wants to take back Mandalore and to do it right, unifying all the clans. And Din just coming in to reassure her was just icing on the cake. So after they split the group, you should never split the group. They split the group up by sending the armorer and some of the injured out, back to the ships up into the atmosphere. And then we have, a little skirmish between Paz and Axe. Also, who on earth would name their kid Axe? Hey, Axe, not looking so sharp there, are ya? Anyway, so we have a little skirmish between them and Grogu stops them. It's gotta mean something, Grogu stopping them specifically. Maybe he's gonna be Mandalore uniting them, who knows? But we'll see. And then after that, they get attacked by this giant creature emerging from the ground. I thought it was going to be the Mythosaur, and I thought they were going to lead into that, but no, it's just a random giant creature that makes them all scurry into the ground. I honestly thought maybe the finale of this episode was them going to be battling this creature, but no, we'll get into the finale. The rest of that party gets to the forge, and guess what we find? An ambush by these Dark Troopers / Beskar Troopers. And let me tell you, I think they did a pretty good job at showing they are actually somewhat competent. The Mandalorians do kind of bowl over them, but it does take a while, and it could have been for a purpose as well, to lead them through all these tunnels that you can see start getting more and more Imperial, which I thought was such a great lead up, just having them go through these tunnels and have them show that they get more and more towards the caves in the installation we saw at the start with Moff Gideon until we are at the Imperial base, right in the heart of Mandalore. And one great detail was all these TIE defenders hanging on the roof like the giant bats. Amazing. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Mwah. So they're ambushed in this Imperial base, they get split up, and Din is taken out by the Dark Beskar Troopers. And it is a bit heartbreaking because you kind of do see it from Bo and Grogu's point of view, and it's just taken out like a chump, which is the thing that Din does best. And then, who comes down? Of course, it is Moff Gideon, with his, what I have to assume is a Mandalorian suit, which makes me think maybe he was one of the Mandalorians who was under Maul during Maul's very brief rule of Mandalore, because, he has those horns. But you know what? Maybe we'll get into that later, who knows. And Gideon just goes off on his evil villain monologue, and how it's going to combine the Jedi, the clones, and Mandalores into one. So far, we still haven't seen what they're going to do with the Jedi. Part of me thinks, if Thrawn is back, maybe they're cloning Ezra, or something like that, and putting Mandalorian armor onto him. But we'll have to wait till next week to find out, probably. Or the Ahsoka show. Who knows? So anyway, Gideon decides to kill the Mandalorians, but they escape because, Bo has a lightsaber and cuts a way out. But Paz Vizsla stays behind to defend them all. And let me tell you, he is one of the characters I've been really on and off about him. He's very standoffish against our protagonist, Din Djarin. You always feel a bit uneasy when he's on screen, but lately he's just been so good. And him sacrificing himself to save the other Mandalorians is just like peak Mandalorian. Just being a badass warrior with all this honor, defending the ones you love. And he does defeat all the Dark Troopers and stuff. But then the Praetorian Guards come out. Very Last Jedi looking, but also very much of the Emperor's Imperial Guards looking too. It kind of looks like a mix between the two. But I digress. Anyway, they kill Paz Vizsla. R.I.P. him. And that's how the episode ends. Whew. I am so looking forward to the finale. I know the season has been very on and off for most people, but I think it's been pretty consistent with the other seasons. So I'm still very much looking forward to the finale. So if you're listening to this, let me know down below what you thought of this episode, and if you're looking forward to the last episode of this season. So until next time, when the adventure continues.